Hey guys, welcome to Armchair Conversations with Rob. Today we're continuing our series on the Thoughts from the Retro Notebook. For those of you just tuning in or just catching this, basically when I was younger, I used to write down my thoughts and ideas, especially when I hit college, in notebooks. And I would add my own little twists to them, or I would, take and paraphrase somebody else's work and maybe see how it related to my life. And so, what I'm doing now is going back through those notebooks to help me remember and honor the past and work toward the future. And so, I'm putting my perspective on it of what I can remember of what I thought back then and my own little twist on it for today. So, next one. People have many different and varying degrees of talent in all areas. That is part of the uniqueness of human consciousness. There is always one predominant gift or talent which will carve a person into a specific niche. Granted, each talent can take you to a certain level, but at least one of them will make space or room for you. Normally, this particular talent will bring you before great and powerful, if that's your desire. A great many people never develop their gifts, and even more don't even know of it or look for it. Study this very carefully. Well, this one is kind of near and dear to me, as far as this was when I started to realize that I also, as a person in the world, had some talent, some gift, some potential, or at least could have. And so I won't say obsessed, but I'll say curiously active in looking for some of the things that I was gifted with so that they could make space for me. Um, I come from West Virginia, and we had a guy here that went to our church that was who's now become rather well recognized, named T.D. Jakes, and he talks about gifts making space for you. And there's several scriptures in the Bible that talk about your gifts making room for you and taking you before great men. Well, so again, I became enamored with the idea that, gee, maybe I could have talents and things too that might put me in a place. And I'll say the same for all of you out there. You also have gifts and talents. I don't believe you have just one. I think we have many gifts and talents, and literally varying degrees. And they will take you in places where you need to go and places where you want to go. Some of it has to do with your elbow grease, your work ethic, about how you develop, and as Will Smith will say, beating up on your craft. And some of it will be naturally inherent to you, and maybe you don't have to work as hard as the next guy for it. But it's all important and it's all useful. Just because you're not an Eric Thomas or Dave Thomas, for that matter, or a T.D. Jakes or an Anthony Robbins, doesn't mean that your gift is not valuable and that it won't benefit somebody in some way. Um, One of the people that I've listened to often, her name is Louise Hay, and she always talked about the fact that many of the people that are out there talking about motivational things, spiritual things, bettering yourself, are saying the same thing. But every one of us isn't going to reach everybody. There are people who may hear these that don't listen to Tony Robbins or won't listen to Louise Hay or T.D. Jakes or whoever. And I may get to reach those people. Will it make me a millionaire, rich, famous, whatever? Who knows? And honestly, who cares? As long as I'm being honest and authentic about getting out here and sharing with people. Now, would I love for this particular gift to make me that? Of course I would. So I will beat up on my craft gently with baby steps, as I always advocate. But if it doesn't, it still feels good to get out here and be on there and share with somebody and be a part of the community and history. Because again, everything in history isn't always right up there on the flat main screen for everybody to see. There are little contributions behind the scenes that yield wonderful results, and help to contribute to the overall consciousness of the planet and the things that even happen in history, the bigger things that you read about. So, takeaway from this is your gift. You have to start trying to figure out what things you do well and what things you enjoy that you do well. Um, because one of the things I've discovered in my old age compared to my younger age is that there are some things that I do very, very well that I don't necessarily like, but they're gifts nonetheless. Now, why I don't like them, who knows? We'll examine that sometime too, maybe when we're out here sharing and talking to each other. But the things that I do like, some of them didn't come easy to me and I had to work for them. Some of the gifts that I have that I don't necessarily care about were natural. And you can have any combinations of that in between the spectrum from thinking you have no gifts to thinking you can do it all. Okay. So, again, want to stress the importance to you of figuring out what your gifts are. What do you like to do? What do you do well? And again, well does not mean the best in the nation or the country or the planet. Okay. Well means what do you do well? And your gift, whether it is the number one talent in the universe or not, is just as valuable and just as needed. I got to sit forward for this one. Just as needed, okay, as anybody else's. You may not play piano like Liberace, but that doesn't mean that your piano playing might not be helpful and useful somewhere in this whole grand scheme of things. I'm not the greatest orator in the world. I don't know that I would ever be. But somebody hears me, somebody listens to me, both on and off camera. Okay. And I listen to some people and hear things from some people that are right in my own little neighborhoods. Okay. Just like I listen to a Tony Robbins or an Eric Thomas. Okay. So your gift is out there and you need to find it and you need to work it. And it will make space for you because that's what gifts do. Your talents and abilities are part of what opens up opportunities and doors for you. And so I urge you to start to consider that you have them and that one of them is going to take you where you want to go. In the meantime, thank you for sharing my armchair. I appreciate it always. Please send me some feedback, send me some comments. If you like me, love me, hate me, or want to just hear more about me, subscribe. If you don't, that's what search engines are for. You will find what you need. In the meantime, I'm going to wish you a great day, a great time, and a great life whenever and wherever you are.